Welcome to the 2022 Economic Depression and Preparation Channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me here on this weekend edition, July 10th, 2022. Today we're going to be talking about the jobs, economy, and hyperinflation and how each three is going to play a part in this upcoming recession, deep double recession that we're going to be experiencing in the fall and winter of this year. Thank you for subscribing, guys. Please be sure to either join the membership or you can just subscribe to this channel. Preach to me for the latest pure unadulterated truth from the United States financial news. So I appreciate your support. I read everyone's comments and suggestions, and I take them to heart. So let's get right into it. Right now, Political.com is saying that the Biden's laser focus, quote, on inflation is rankles progressives inside the administration. As you know, that President Biden has been trying to quell fears. First, it was to quell fears that prices were transitory inflation, and now it's to quell fears that this inflation could last the rest of his presidency and beyond. And I think it's more of the latter. We know that this inflation was not transitory when it began because we printed up 3 stimulus packages, not including the packages that we sent to help Ukraine, and that's not including the infrastructure package, his infrastructure package, which did not pass, as you guys know. So we're facing a thing that's not going to be easy to fend off, and we know that the inflation is going to be lasting in food, energy, transportation, housing. Everything is out of whack, and it will continue to be out of whack. And he's not going to make a move that Paul Volcker did in the 70s. He's not the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. So he's committed to raising rates, but not that high because we have to service a $30 trillion debt that's growing in America. And so there's only 2 options here for this economy. And this economy is in a situation now where Larry Summers, according to MarketWatch.com, he doubles down, says, quote, steep joblessness is needed to beat inflation. So he believes that we should raise job prices. We should create more jobs to beat this inflation. There's only one problem with that. You have to look at the types of jobs that were created, Mr. Summers. There have been retail, hospitality, service sector jobs. $15, $20 an hour is not going to be enough to get us out of this depression that we're going to be facing because we don't manufacture anything. And on top of that, the job numbers are already massaged because even if we have full employment, we still have massive unemployment. We still have 20 million people that either have unemployed, have left the workforce, or just collecting unemployment, who have left the workforce, who have never returned to the workforce. And so when that's not counting those of us who are in the gig economy, who are doing 2 jobs or 3 jobs just to make ends meet in America. So this deep joblessness will continue, and it won't beat inflation because inflation is baked in because we have printed up money that's a debt note. These monies are debt notes. You read your U.S. dollar. Look at the U.S. dollar. It says this is a U.S. Treasury debt note, and this debt note has to be repaid. So every dollar you create $1 of debt. That's the problem in the debt-based system economy that we live in. And so the Dow Jones, as you can see up top here before I get into this article by CNN Business, you can see the Dow Jones was down last week, 46 points. It's been down for the last month, June. And now as we head into this 3rd and 4th quarter, many believe that that's when the recession is going to rear its ugly head after this summertime break and when the kids go back to school in September, October. Those are the months you want to watch out. September, October, November for these increased price demands, increased inflation, increased joblessness, increased homelessness in cities that you normally wouldn't think of. Austin, Texas has a homelessness problem that's growing. Some cities in the South have homelessness problems that's growing in Florida, particularly in the Orlando, South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale district as well. Homelessness has been growing there. Traditionally, we look at, of course, California for homelessness, but in D.C. and places like that, New York. But homelessness is growing in cities and states that we have not seen a huge explosion of, but that will be once these job numbers continue to grow. So you see here go down. Now, right here, they say that the economy added 372,000 jobs in June, right? But once again, the question is not only what types of jobs that we add, but also we have to understand that many of these jobs that they added were people coming back online from being shut down for the last 2.5 years because of the pandemic. So these are people who were furloughed off of work. Maybe they were flight attendants and they got furloughed off of a full schedule anyway. Now they're coming back online somewhat. Maybe they were cruise ship attendants or pilots or you name it, manufacturing workers that we still have left in this country in some of these factories in Alabama and Ohio and other places. So that's what you have to factor in. And secondly, you have to factor in that they keep saying that the media keeps touting this unemployment rate at 3.6%, close to a 52-year low. before the pandemic hit. Well, the problem with that is that that's not counting those who have given up looking for work or those whose unemployment benefits have expired, because you can only be on unemployment benefits for so long, and those who have given up looking for work in the states. That's what those numbers do not show, unfortunately. The good news is, like I said, the good news is in the private sector, there was some hiring going on in the private sector, and that's what's kept us afloat. Government employment continues to lag, but it also has not dropped by much since the pandemic level. So that has helped out this economy, and of course, healthcare has helped out this economy because the high prices of healthcare and the workers paying high wages. That has helped out the economy. Those people still have, for the most part, jobs, and things are going well there. And wages are on the rise, but obviously with inflation real inflation at 18%, current inflation is at 9.8%, and real inflation has doubled that at 18.8%, according to saddlestats.com. That means that the wages increase is being eaten up tremendously. They said average hourly rate was up 5.1% during the past 12 months, right? But with inflation at 18% and current inflation at 9%, your wages are being eaten up at 2% per month. It's crazy. So this is increasing headwinds and recession fears, says Daniel Zhao, Glassdoor senior economist. As we said, he said, even if the economy is slowing, quote, the labor market remains a point of strength for the recovery for now. Okay. The thing is, employers right here, this employer demand that they're talking about, when the input costs go up, this is basic economics, when the input costs go up of getting supplies, of paying fees and licenses and all this stuff with the truckers and everything, and fuel costs, when all that goes up, that means, and they can no longer sustain having an employee to fit a staff of 50 or 100 or 350 people, they're going to cut back. They're going to rapidly cut back. And we've seen that. We have seen that continuously. And people are weighing, the pandemic is weighing on workers. Some people are just quitting. They'd rather work for themselves. They'd rather not drive into the office and deal with the hassle that, President Biden has said that he's going to continue to have everybody telework and do all this kind of stuff. So we're looking at a situation now where we're going into the fall. We're going into the midterms after the summer. And you know that they're going to the Democrats are going to try to make things look good. But there's no way you can make this look good. Even the Republicans know that there's no way that the situation is going to end good for either party, for either side, because we're too far spent. Enough money. We're basically in default almost now. As you know, Sri Lanka declared default in their government, and people are storming their parliament and their capital. It's just an unbelievable thing, and I can't imagine that same thing happening here. But it very well could be that, guys. It very well could be that we can have a situation here on our hands after the next elections, that we can have real civil unrest among these cities and towns and townships and states here, as we face that we're broke and that the current system is broken, and that there isn't going to be anybody here with a lot of money but the upper top 1%, and they've already got their food storages and interest money stored away in banks overseas and all kind of underground bunkers and who knows what else that they have, that the super rich people have, that they already prepared for this in advance. So we must prepare too as best we can with what little we have, and God will help us every step of the way, physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, ladies and gentlemen. So continue to prepare, and don't think this lull in action right now as everyone waits for interest rates to rise and this housing market to crash and this credit market to crash. Things are already crashing around the world. It's just that the United States will be the last to feel it. We will be the last domino to fall in this system. Europe, Southern Asia, South America, Africa, all of those countries will already be in severe depression. Then the United States will be in depression. We're in a recession right now, but we're heading to a more severe depression after this fall and winter, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe. I'll talk to you very soon, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.